So this is basically a Q&A, get to know me kind of video, my first YouTube video. And for me to be able to let you know a little bit about who I am, what kind of journey I'm on, and what this channel basically about, I put together 10 questions that I will answer, and hopefully they will give you better insight of who I am and who you'll be seeing for the next couple of weeks on your screens if you choose to. And yeah, so we'll get into it. Question number 1. How do you define intentional parenting, and what are some of the practical ways you implement it in your daily life? Well, I'll keep it simple. I'm a very simple person, and I'm trying to integrate my simplicity in my life, because I think for a while I kind of got swallowed by the fast-paced movements and the trends and whatever was going on around me and trying to keep up, but it wasn't something that was meant for me. I felt I didn't really feel comfortable existing in that space, let's just say. So what are some of the practical ways I implemented in my life? I just show love. I show up for my son when I'm supposed to, when he needs me, when he needs a hug, when he needs to talk, when he needs discipline. I just show up. I show up present. I show up in my authenticity, and I just keep it simple. I talk to him. I communicate with him. So in good times, in bad times, during tantrums, because he's 2 years old, I just be intentional by being present, just being present in that moment for him. If he needs something from me, I drop what I'm doing and I'm just there to cater to him. And in that way, I'm able to be intentional. So I help him through whatever it is that we're going through in that moment. So in happy times, meal times, bath time, nap time, I am just present. And that is one way that I implement being an intentional parent. Number 2, as a busy mother and professional, how do you ensure you're fully present and engaged with your spouse amidst all your responsibilities? Well, this one is a little bit difficult, and it's something that I'm still learning. We are both still learning it. After having our son, everything changed. I'm sure if there's anybody out there that has got children, you know how the dynamics from being 2 to being 3 or 4 changes everything. And so we try and be intentional. Well, I'll speak for myself. Try and be intentional by making our time for him, just for him. And it could be after we've put our son to sleep. So in the late nights, 1 hour, 30 minutes to just sit down and chat or cuddle or just watch a movie, and just try and show up for him also, and just try and remember that before we were 3, we were 2, and try on strengthening and reinforcing the love that we already have, our connection, trying to be intimate in talking, in kissing, in words of affirmations, and just, I guess for me, it's just being present. So I'm also trying to be present for him when he needs me, present for him when he needs time away, present for him when he needs time with me, time with us. So I'm just present, and yeah. Number 3, can you share some strategies you use to maintain a healthy balance between motherhood, your career as a quantity surveyor, and your personal life? Strategies. Be true to yourself, be honest, number 1, because being a career mom, being a wife, and also for your personal life, this is a lot to juggle. All these dimensions of your life require the ultimate best version of you for you to succeed in any one of them. Now, what I think is the truth is, if you're going to make one grow or blossom, the others are definitely going to struggle or suffer. So I try to keep a balance. And this I also get with the help of my husband, that he allows me the time to spend on my own, to do things I love, like this right now. This is my me time, and I've chosen it to sit here and film and do what I'm doing because this makes me happy. This makes me fulfilled. This makes me feel like I'm still Namonga Kathleen without everything else that is around me. And then with my career, I make sure that when I'm at work, I focus on work. I try not to worry about what my son is doing at daycare, what my husband is doing here, what I need to do at home, or what I need to do after work. I just focus on my job and I do what needs to be done and be present in that space. And then the rest applies to everything else. So I think I noticed that as I answer the questions, everything is gravitating towards being present in that moment, in that space. And it's true. I mean, it's so difficult nowadays to be present in a moment because of all the distractions that we have around us, our cell phones, movies, and just everything happening around in the world. But just being present in that 1 minute, in that one moment, makes the biggest difference. And I think that is my one best strategy, and it evolves depending on what the situation is. And yeah. Number 4, what are some challenges you faced in juggling your roles as a mother, wife, and professional, and how have you overcome them? Challenges, I'll give something that was quite challenging for me in the beginning. So after my maternity leave and I had to go back for work, I found it so difficult to separate from my son. I was so used to being with him the first 4 months of his life, and suddenly I had to leave him at home with someone that was helping me, be it my mom or his nanny or my husband. And for me, that was the most difficult. I dealt with the guilt of, I felt like I was abandoning my son. And while he was okay, I mean, he loved the people that I left him to care for him with, and he didn't seem bothered, also because he was 4 months old, he was young. But I dealt with, I don't know, just that anxiety of leaving my son. Is he gonna be safe? Is everything okay? Will they understand when he cries this way that it's his diaper? Will they understand when he does that it's this? And also just dealing with the physical changes, the emotional changes that came with being away from him, because I breastfed my son, so I was so used to breastfeeding him every 2 hours, every 3 hours, and suddenly I had to go hours without breastfeeding him, and I had to pump, and it was just so chaotic. I just felt like I was failing as in my role as a mother, and even though that was not true, but it just felt that way. And so it took a while for me to accept and to embrace that transition from being at home with him 100% of the day to just separating a little bit for a couple of hours and then seeing him back again. I remember in the first month, I used to ask my boss if I could go home, and so of course I was allowed an hour every day, so it was either an hour before, I could go an hour late, or I could have 2 hours of lunch, or I could knock off an hour early. And I remember the first time I said, can I have 2 hours for today, please, just for today, my first day? And eventually I got over it. I mean, I cried a little bit while I was in the office, and I think that was the most challenging, because after that it kind of became easier and I became more trusting of the people I was leaving him with. Number 5, how do you prioritize self-care in your busy schedule, and what activities or practices do you find most rejuvenating? For me, self-care is just pampering myself, getting in a wax, having a facial, going for a massage, manicure. Another thing that is not cosmetic is cycling. Self-care, this is a self-care routine that I love to share with my husband and my son, because we all love being outside. And so just getting our bikes and just cycling along the river, into a park, wherever the bikes take us, we go. That for me is my moment of liberation, and I feel so free, and I just feel so taken care of, if that makes any sense. So that definitely is something that is at the top of my list when it comes to self-care. And yeah, so I would like to take a short break. I'm halfway through. I've answered 5 of the questions, and I want to take a sip of tea, coffee, and also take this opportunity to ask you if you are liking what you see, what you're hearing, and you feel like this is something that you would like to see or hear more of and from me, please do like and comment if anything I have said resonates with you, or if you relate in any way with what I'm saying, what I've already said, or what I'm about to say. And also share this video if it's something that you would like to do. And yeah, let me get on with it. So number 6. Could you share a specific instance where you had to take a tough decision to prioritize either your family, career, or personal well-being? How did you navigate that decision? Well, that's easy. If you're watching me or you stumbled upon this video because you are part of my close friends, let's say, because before any of this, I was just, yeah, anyway, if you're following me from my personal profiles, Instagram or TikTok, and you know me personally, you know that we lived in Zambia before we came to Italy. Backstory: I am Zambian. I was born and bred in Zambia. My husband is Italian. I met him in Zambia 6 years ago, and 2 years ago we decided to relocate to Italy after our son was born. And this was a decision that we collectively made because we weighed our options in education, the quality of life, and just the kind of lifestyle that we wanted for ourselves. And we realized that we couldn't have that in Zambia, and it was easier to have here in Europe. And so that was one of the biggest decisions that I ever had to make, that involved both my career, my personal life, and also as a mother and as a wife. I mean, it was the biggest decision I ever had to make. So it was at a time when my career, I felt, was at its peak. I had just landed, not just a year prior, I had started working with a company that I loved so much. I'm a quantity surveyor by profession. And yeah, so I really loved the job I was doing. I loved the people I was working with. And for me, that was amazing. And then I had my son, who I knew I wanted to give him a certain kind of life, which I couldn't give him where I was. And then also my husband, who had been with me in Zambia for the first 4 years. And so he was looking for a change. And so it was one of those decisions that I had to forego my emotional feelings, let's just say, because I have my siblings and my mother back in Zambia. So I think just coming to terms with the fact that I wouldn't be able to see them as often as I did, and they would be miles away from me, that was a little bit painful. And also having to leave my career position in my career at that moment that seemed to have just leveled up also seemed like, what am I doing? What do I do? Do I want this so much and not this? But collectively with my husband, we sat down and we spoke about it. I mean, it took us a year to finally decide and make that step, but it was something that we did collectively. We weighed our options and we prepared for it financially, emotionally, psychologically, mention it. And yeah, I think one thing that helped is just communicating, just being honest about how I really felt and explaining to him how certain things would affect me emotionally or affect my family, and my family being my sisters and my mother, because my father is late. So yeah, that was one of the biggest decisions that I had to make. And I'm so glad that I had my partner with me, my husband, and communicating and talking with him, just sharing our ideas and our thoughts, knowing that if anything happened that didn't go as planned, I always had him by my side, really made the decision easy to make. And then number 6. Oh, sorry, I already said number 6. Number 7. In what ways do you involve your spouse in parenting and household responsibilities to foster a sense of partnership and support? I'm lucky. I married a man that loves to share everything, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, because he will literally use my toothbrush, knowing or unknowingly, We will never know. But the fact that he is so big on helping, he wants to split all responsibilities enough. I swear, if that man could breastfeed, he would have breastfed. And so that has been something that's been, I don't know, a no-brainer. I mean, we share all the chores, from cleaning to cooking, taking care of our son, taking care of the household. So I guess I am blessed. I'm so lucky I have such a partner that wants to share in everything that we do. So that really isn't anything that I had to put in place. But of course, we discussed, I mean, he has his strengths and I have my strengths. So he loves to cook. Give him any day, cook, he will cook. So he loves to cook and I love to clean. So he definitely cooks more than I do, and he cooks well. He's Italian. And yeah, so if he cooks, I clean. If I cook, he cleans. If he takes our son to school in the morning, I take him from school after work. So we have a balance, and he will clean the house, our home, as well as he can during the week. Over the weekend, I do a thorough clean, and yeah, so we have a balance, and it works for us. And so, number 8. As a quantity surveyor, how do you manage your workload and deadlines without compromising the quality of your work or time with your family? I have learned to work in the hours I have been employed to work. So if my work day starts at 9 and ends at 6 p.m., that is my work day. I have 30 minutes of coffee break. I have 1 hour of lunch break. In those 30 minutes, I do whatever I need to do that's personal to relax. And in that 1 hour of lunch break, I have my lunch and I talk to my husband and I call whoever I need to call. I take my breaks when I need to take them, and I take them in totality. And when I need to work, I work. I focus on my work. I focus on my targets, and I'm just there. So I'm, again, present in that moment. I'm present when I need to work. I'm present during my coffee break, and I'm present during my lunch break. And I leave the office at 6, as I have been contracted to. And number 9, what advice would you give to another mother who is struggling to find balance between the various roles and responsibilities? I think I can give one piece of advice, which is something that I feel has helped me, which is stay centered, stay true to yourself, be honest with yourself, know your limits, and set boundaries. So I know it's a lot that I've said, but in general, it is set your boundaries. Set your boundaries and set your boundaries set your boundaries with yourself, set your boundaries with your extended family, set your boundaries with your child, because you will need that. If you are not whole, if you are not together, definitely nothing around you is going to work. Everything is going to fall apart. So set those boundaries, and within your boundaries, within those limitations, find your space, find your voice, and find you. And then from that, you're able to give out. So yeah, that's the piece of advice that I can give. And okay, those were 9 questions. Sorry, I thought I had 10. And yeah, that is basically it, I guess. I don't know. I know I've dropped a little bit of this and that in the questions that I've answered. If you've got any more questions for me, do let me know. And yeah, at the okay, so that brings me to the end of my questions. I thought I had 10, but I only had 9. And okay, let's make up a 10th question. What could it be? I don't know. What's my favorite food? No. What is my favorite thing to do? Favorite thing to do when I have nothing else to do and no other responsibilities that require my presence? I take a glass of wine and I just sit in silence. I love to do that. I will do that every day if I can. But yeah, So anyway, this wraps up my first video, and if you liked it, give it a good thumbs up. Looking forward to seeing your comments down below on tips, anything that you do that I haven't mentioned, or something that's just worth sharing for other people that may be reading. And I will definitely I will definitely try and read the comments, and and I'll definitely read the comments, and we can chat and discuss and whatever. Looking forward to hearing all about it. Thank you so much again for joining me and watching all the way up to the end of this video. So until the next video, you stay sane, stay true to yourself, and be present. Ciao.